Hello and welcome everyone to a very special edition of NCI Live. I say it's special edition because this is our 1 year anniversary of NCI Live. Thank you for joining us and staying with us this last year. We've had a lot of exciting topics and it has been a great year to do this. Today, my name is David Groth. I'm a technical solutions specialist here at Network Center Incorporated. And joining me today is John Ryan, who is also a technical solutions specialist. We will be talking today about the latest Microsoft 365 updates. I wanted to let everybody know that we are, in fact, live on both YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to have us address or discuss or anything like that, please feel free to chat us in those different chat platforms. We'll do our best to answer those questions live. With that, John, how are you doing today?
Hey, good. So do I get a T-shirt then for the 1 year anniversary, or some kind of
Uh,
hat or a pin?
I was going to look up what is the 1 year anniversary, reward. Like they have diamonds and silver and gold and things like that for marriages. I think the 1 year anniversary is pen. I'm going to
Nice.
go with pen.
Okay, let's
So
do that.
no, it's great. It's been a wonderful time, and I've been thankful to be able to do this for Network Center, and with everyone, all the great guests we've had. So that has been awesome.
Yep, I
So
think this is my third time on here. Isn't it? Somewhere around there.
I believe that, yeah, that sounds
Yep.
about right. And doing Microsoft and a couple of other things. So with that, let's get this kicked off. 365 updates, lots happening. Why don't you go ahead and give us some of the updates? Tell us what's going
Yeah,
on.
so we're going to get right into it here. We have quite a few of them to go through. This is the Q1 updates, so kind of everything that happened after the first of the year up until about the end of March time frame. There are some things coming out, some things in the horizon that we'll go over at the end as well. Just some things to touch on that you'll probably likely end up seeing just in the media or any of that kind of stuff. So, but we'll get started. I kind of put these in groups. This is the Microsoft Teams group. They're constantly building out and making the experience more enjoyable within Teams. So what this is they call it flyout enhancements, but it's basically pop-up menus. So at several different areas within Microsoft Teams, they have these contextual menus that pop up that kind of help you with quick links to add documents or to uh, search, but a little bit more within the user interface just to help you kind of take advantage of a lot of those, maybe tools that you're not taking advantage of. I think, most people use applications to about, 10 or 20% of their capabilities. So I think this is Microsoft trying to get people a little bit more used to adding links or referencing documents or using some of the workflow capabilities and everything
Mhm.
within Microsoft Teams. So
So rather than having to go to different menus or find different buttons, you're literally whatever you're doing, you're right there, and you've got a menu that you can pull it up. That's
yep,
kind of powerful. That's very cool.
yeah, they don't want to take you away from the experience of what you're doing. So if you are chatting with somebody, they want it to be able to be an extension of the chat.
Mhm. Certainly, it's great. Awesome, love it.
So the next piece, you probably see some of this stuff already,
My
but
personal favorite.
video filters, yep. So they're also increasing the ability to kind of humanize or personalize the experience within the Teams meetings. So they do have more video filters. You can see like some of the like swoopy graphics and everything to be able to kind of make it a little bit more produced or professional looking for your presentations. They also introduce Snapchat filters into it and some green screen effects. So if you want the cat scratching at the top of your head or sunglasses or any of that kind of stuff, they have all of that now. And they're just trying to make it more fun. A lot of people don't like to be on video. So it's a way to, between this and that, the animation, the one that we talked about the last update, being able to, put yourself in as as an animated character and do presentations that way. This is just kind of more
Mhm.
extension on it. I look at this as just to make it more produced looking, almost like you're watching a presentation as opposed to
Mhm.
just having a meeting, you know.
Right. I happen to like a couple of those things. The like it humanizes the communication experience. We're not just having a everybody standing there going, and we can all look at blank faces all day long, and it really makes the experience just. We've all been on meetings like that,
I think it's
but
how do we get people to turn their cameras on more?
yeah,
You know, how do we get people more excited to use the platform? So,
right. And looking at a bunch of circles, a bunch of circles with the people's initials in them, that's not exactly a good meeting either, right?
right.
Um, the other thing that I wanted to comment on the green screen piece, I've been looking forward to that for a while because, um, for those that do YouTube production, I mean, obviously we're on a YouTube type production here. And for those that do YouTube production, you can actually get a very clean background um, for a meeting. If all of your meetings are virtual, um, you can have that green screen behind you and it will make a very clean looking, like if this was fake, this is actually a real desk here. But if I was to make this as a fake background, I could have a picture, but it would look very real. These lines would not be blurred.
Right, less
So
clouding around the people
yeah.
and the obvious fake background, you know.
Yeah. And as you said, a much more professional experience. That's great.
Sticking with teams here, calling this time. So talking about federated group calling. So within teams right now, you can call from to anyone in your organization if you don't have the calling plan or Teams calling. So you can make a call from PC to PC within your own organization. They're actually opening that up to federated group calling. So meaning if you're federated with another organization or if you have two sister companies, you can federate those together now and call cross platform or cross
Mm,
federation,
mm,
as opposed to having those PSTN usage charges or calling through a calling plan.
mm.
So it's a big deal.
Absolutely. Saves a lot on the phone charges and whatever.
Another thing they're trying to do is do some actionable items, some things that you can do just kind of on the fly. So as you can see in this example, I missed a couple of calls from Roger and Rick, and I can actually, within the alerts, the notifications, I can just hit call to call them back. So instead of having to, search them out or chat with them and click on their calling ability, or their phone number. This gives you a quick link to just call them right back. So it's kind of nice with keeping you, again in the platform in Teams and just giving you quick links to be able to do some of the kind of uh, faster communication uh,
Mhm.
options. So
Absolutely. Great.
this is also within Teams. So we're talking about that when you raise your hand, if you speak after you've raised your hand, it'll actually lower your hand for you, meaning that you've probably said what you were trying to say, and it'll lower it. And if you don't want it to lower, you can hit keep it raised on there.
Mhm.
So if you were to comment on somebody else's, raised hand or whatever, but you still have your hand to raise. Apparently, a lot of people use the raised hand thing. So,
Yep.
but that's another little just kind of quick tool that they've added into the programming. And I
Especially
think,
in larger meetings. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the cool part about it is they continue to build this out, right? So, you're paying for a license. That gives you access to the tool, that they're continually expanding and growing and giving you more and more features without charging you extra for it. So I think that's one of the cool parts about having a subscription. It's constantly evolving and you get to use some of those new tools.
Absolutely. One other thing I will say is that this feature, there's a site out there for Microsoft that you can suggest features and you can and they get taken into account by Microsoft. And this one has been asked for a lot because they don't want to keep hitting lower. And some people can't find it, can't find the function to lower their hand, even though it's just clicking on the button again.
So instead of getting constantly called on, Bill, did you
Yep.
have something?
Yeah,
Bill
exactly.
again?
Exactly.
So jumping out of Teams and into Intune, they actually have a new crash course out there, which takes you through. So if you're an administrator for your organization, for Intune, and Intune is mobile device management for your endpoints. So most people will use it for, mobile devices like phones, but you can also administer PCs and laptops and tablets and everything with it as well. But a lot of people don't know all the inner workings about Intune and what's capable of. As you can see in the little diagram there, there's quite a few things going on with it.
It's kind of
They,
incredible.
yeah, they uploaded a new crash course designed to help you basically grasp what it can do. And some of the things in there are really cool, like being able to create profiles and then add profiles to devices, so you don't have to reset up each device or make specific settings for each device. You can just add devices to groups. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with this. It is truly a managed device platform
Hmm.
to allow you to manage those remote devices. You also, through Microsoft, and eventually it's going to be, everything is subscription based, right? No more on-site domain controller, no more group policy, any of that. So you got to figure out how to manage those endpoints. And
Hmm.
Intune is the way that Microsoft wants you to manage those endpoints.
Hmm.
So as far as applying forced updates or making people do updates on a certain time of the week, if it's after update Tuesday or whenever they decide to do it, um, this is how Microsoft is going to manage those endpoints, because in the future, um, with flying cars and everything, you won't be logging into a domain with a device. You'll be authenticating as a user.
Hmm.
And this is the way that they can control those devices that the users are using. So anyway, there's a new published crash course out there to take you through as an administrator to figure out some of the new features and just give you a better understanding of what it entails. So
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, Intune. Those of you out there that have 365 that have not looked wow, into Intune, it is really an incredible product. The functionality is, it does so many things, and even just working with it a little bit, you're getting to see the future of how devices are managed through the cloud. It's pretty incredible.
yeah, and even on an imaging side of it too, you can take a device and you can add all of your applications through Intune after it's been subscribed or joined through
Enrolled.
Intune, enrolled.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now when you deploy your devices, especially if you don't need to join it to a domain, you can just
Yeah.
send it to your end user. They fire it up. It home runs back to the Intune service, and
Yeah.
it starts loading in the software for it. So, uh, they're continuing to build more and more technology to make life easier for remote
Yeah.
employees.
They're literally like within different areas where you can log in with your 365 account, and with a new PC, as long as it registers as a new PC, you enroll the device, and as soon as you do, all of your preferences, all of your stuff comes down. And it's much like, and I'm oversimplifying it, but you have group policies and things of that nature, and there's imaging and things you can do locally with the domain. But now taking that into account with the power of cloud services and 365 and a single unified domain controller, not, or excuse me, a single unified uh, identity, not to mention identity security, policy security, and all the other pieces that come along with it. I love it. It's great.
Moving over to Microsoft Viva, this is probably something a lot of people aren't really using, but if you do get a chance to use Viva, this is more of the culture kind of side of 365. and they're allowing you to do certain things like praise people, so you can actually give somebody some praise, and their colleagues can look at it and see that you got a praise, like this one says great job. um, but kind of a way to bring more of the culture into the 365 world, as opposed to everybody's been on the con calls where I want to respect your time, I got to get off in 30 minutes or whatever, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff, where it seems like it's more brief and less personable. These are different types of tools that they're bringing in to make it more personable for everyone. um,
Mhm.
and I like it. It's nice to be able to see kind of more the human side of it. So
Absolutely. Yeah, these are, and it's in Teams, as they say, and it's just a click, praise, boom, done, and that it shows up here under their user account, and everybody can see it. It's great. I love it.
So more towards Outlook functionality. You may have seen this already, but there is a meeting recap feature that you can enable. And so now when if you've ever recorded anything, you may have gotten this email back from the service from Microsoft showing you that the recording is ready. You can add notes, parts of the agenda, all of that kind of stuff back into a meeting recap that you can then send out to your team with attachments and everything. So instead of having to send individual emails, you can actually send it right from the meeting. It'll include the recording and everything for it. So
Mhm.
kind of a new feature for Outlook meetings as well. So even though we do everything through Teams, we still meet through Outlook. So
Yeah. I get a lot of requests for this function that where people are converting from they're not even converting necessarily from a platform, but they're implementing Teams as a collaboration piece, or just they want to tighten up how they do things. And they say, well, I have one person who attends meetings and they literally just take notes. And that's all they do. And then they need to email them out to everybody. I mean, this really is doing that. It's
yep,
literally a recap, and you could even have the full transcription of everything that was said in the meeting, and or even a recording of that meeting, and have it just sent out to everybody saying, hey, go look back at the meeting.
yep.
I love it. I do want to interrupt you, John, for one more
Yep.
second, or
Okay.
again, and remind everybody that is watching that we are live. Please message us any questions you have. We will still do our best to answer them live on the air. If you have any questions about the products you've seen so far, there have been a lot of updates, and there will continue to be updates. It's one of the beautiful things about 365. So please, John, continue. I know you've got several more things to go through. So
Yep. So this is a new thing too. It's called the context IQ. I don't know if it's supposed to have the L on there. I think I accidentally put that in there on the slide. But basically, it's called inline searching. So at any time when you're in an email, if you put the at symbol and you start typing, it'll actually bring up options for you to add things. Kind of like trying to predict what you're going to do, or try to say, or try to add in. Kind of like if you put attached is blah blah blah, and then you don't put an attachment on there, and Outlook asks you, "Are you sure you want to send this without an attachment?" It's kind of that kind of technology,
mm,
but now you can do kind of call outs, if you want to call it that, with the at symbol. And what that'll do is it'll pull up a search, or it'll pull up different documents or things that you've looked at previously to help link your content to what you're doing, just to make things easier, make it go faster, again, with the pop-up window, so you don't have to leave or click on the attach button or any of that kind of stuff. They're
mm.
kind of making it right at the end of your fingertips.
And to be clear, that's in Outlook, or is that in other platforms as well?
That's an Outlook. Yep, this is
Okay,
an Outlook
specific.
function. Yep.
Okay, very cool.
What it does is it actually goes through your 365 account,
Okay.
and it pulls that stuff out of there. So if you have a local file or something, it's not going to
Mm.
grab that. But if it's in, OneDrive or something like that, it'll pull up
Oh, very
those
cool.
files for searching and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I was noticing that in the piece there, where it shows a file as well as a person, so you can call out a person, and like they'll get a notification, but then the document, you can actually say, okay, this is the document, and it can send either a link or the document itself.
Yep.
Very cool.
And now this is something a little bit more for administrators, but they do have some exchange test message. So instead of having to call the Microsoft Help Desk if you're having any kind of issues, there's a PowerShell that you can run that'll actually send a test message, through the tenant to an end user for troubleshooting. So kind of a little bit more of the not giving you full access to the Exchange environment, but giving you some tools to allow you to do some personal troubleshooting before you open up a ticket. So a little bit on both sides, less tickets to the help desk maybe for the 365 environment, and more control or more abilities for troubleshooting on the administrator side. So
Very cool. That's a powerful tool.
Azure AD, which is on its way to be renamed to Entra. But basically, they're going to enable IPv6 support. Right now, IPv4 is supported, but IPv6 is going to be supported. And as you can see, kind of in that little graph down there, you can tell basically the amount of connections and IP addresses that you can connect with is astronomical for IPv6. So it's
Yep.
kind of a technology, you can see IPv4, came out in 81, and we've been kind of using that, for a long time, and bringing in IPv6 support. It kind of seems like it's a finally, right, or about time, but
Yeah.
it gives you a lot more flexibility as far as connections and identification, and just overall better on the administrator side. End
Yep.
users probably aren't going to care, but
No.
in the grand scheme of things, it's going to help out organizations. So
Excellent.
cross-tenant sync, this is definitely a cool thing. It's been kind of teetering on the edge of being released, but now you can actually sync two tenants in Azure. So if you have an environment and you have like a sister company or something, you don't have to put them under the same tenant anymore. You can do a cross-tenant sync with it. And
Nice.
that will give you access to, cross tenants to other things. Right now, or prior to this, you could see limited information if you were not in the same tenant. So you could see maybe some free busy for calendars. You could do some external sharing with those people. But now, you can actually kind of fuse two organizations together, but still give them their own tenants. A lot of times when we talk about setting up the tenant, that's like the organization. Well, if you don't want everything under one organization, you want it under two different organizations, like here, Mexico and US. Billing and all that stuff will still stay with those individual tenants, but you can share that information across. So
Yep. Excellent. Excellent.
it's a big
I
deal.
did get a comment. About one of the new Teams features that we did not mention, but it also is. We kind of trying to summarize as many as we can here, but obviously 365 puts out so many that we can't give you every single one. We have to be somewhat cherry picking about them, obviously. One of the new features is the ability for users to control what users are in a call queue. And this is for Teams calling. So thank you, Jeff, for that particular one. And that is a very powerful feature because we have some users who do have, I'm going to call them call centers, but in Teams, it's not really a true call center. It's the ability to put people in and out of a queue to take as many phone calls as they can. So very cool feature. And thank you, Jeff, for asking that question. So
All right, staying with the Azure AD Entra, there's a new admin center, which will be the new Azure Active Directory administrative portal for administrators to log into. Lots of different features in there, lots of different control. And eventually the old Azure Active Directory admin center will go away, and it'll become this Entra admin center. So you can actually log into it and take a look at it and see what kind of different roles and responsibilities and things that you can do within it. But everything's moving towards the intra section.
Excellent.
SharePoint. So believe it or not, they are still working on SharePoint as a standalone product, even though it's kind of been front-ended by Teams to help with the experience and everything with document libraries and sharing.
Hmm.
But there's still a lot to do in SharePoint, and they're I don't want to say revisiting, but they're continuing to build out the experience in SharePoint as well, because there is some functionality that you need with that. So
Hmm.
through SharePoint, you can now request files uh, to end users externally. And you can share out document libraries with others that can upload files and links and everything. So some more stuff is on the horizon for that as well, like live video. You're going to be able to do some kind of webcasting through there,
Hmm.
streaming. And so they are kind of working on that. I have a feeling that as more people use 365, they're going to continue to work, within that platform.
Yeah.
And it only makes sense for SharePoint to kind of step up and get some new features and kind of come back into play. And
I,
still, it's the best place if you want an intranet site.
mm,
To spin up a SharePoint site. So we do it all the time.
yeah.
Even though it doesn't get talked about as much, it's
Right.
still very valuable.
I will add just a couple notes on that, is that it's that line between SharePoint and Teams is awfully often confused, and that for most I would just make the blanket statement that for most companies, Teams is the route we tell people to go, because SharePoint is not a fit for the vast majority of things that are done in a company for sharing files, for collaborating, for those kind of things, because that's not what SharePoint was designed for. Um, but for this particular feature that you're talking about, because it is based in SharePoint, but Teams is based on SharePoint, have the ability to say, okay, go um, open the SharePoint and go in to it from that team. Like if I have a marketing team, right, in Teams, I can open it in SharePoint and then do this. It's a convoluted way of doing it, but if you want that feature in Teams, it's possible. So cool function.
Yep.
I did get a question. The question is, what is an intranet? Okay.
So
Uh,
do you want me to answer? Or do you want to
yeah,
answer?
absolutely. Go right ahead.
So an intranet is a internal web page or web, I guess, series of web pages that are only accessible from within your organization, and they're meant to share information that's proprietary or inside information instead of an external website. So instead of going to the internet, you're going to the intranet, which means internally. What a lot of people use it for is they'll have a home page, they'll have some document libraries, maybe you have some portals for sales and service and, whatever industry you're in. You can have an HR page. So when you're onboarding somebody, they can go right out there and they can follow through a step by step, clicking on web pages and links and watching videos and doing all of that kind of stuff through
Mhm.
an intranet site. Um, and that's I guess the old term for it. I don't know if anybody uses intranet anymore,
Right.
but that's basically an internal website. So then you would still have your external website
Mhm.
that anybody in the world who searches for you, your .com or whatever it happens to be, they can go out and look at that site, and that's the stuff that you share with the world. The intranet site is stuff that you share internally.
Absolutely. It is possible, and I'm just going to have one little term. This is an older term, but it is still used today. But for a minute there was a lot of other terms thrown around like intranet, extranet, and then the just plain old internet website. An extranet then was something that where you share certain information with things like vendors. So it was inside information, but shared with like vendors and customers, but not with the general public. So now we have things, and that's what SharePoint was kind of designed for, is to build your own intranet. Otherwise, you had to have a developer that would, do that for you, and it took more effort.
Yep.
So,
And SharePoint was originally hosted on-prem. Was
yep,
an on-prem tool.
yep, absolutely.
OneDrive update. There's an update to files on demand. Basically, the syncing option. You're going to see the button is going to disappear for that. It's basically just going to sync all the time, and then you can control, your limited download and upload rate if you want to. So, not a huge change there, but just if that sync button disappears on you, that's why. So don't panic. A couple of things on the horizon, and we're at the 11:30 time frame. So a couple of things on the horizon. Copilot, we're going to be talking more about that. That's basically like a little assistant that follows you around, where you can verbally instruct Office apps to create documents for you. So you can basically say, create a 5-page document on this last conference that we had. Here's my notes from it, and it'll actually put it together for you. So you would link a file to that, and then it would create it. So kind of similar to what the Chat GPT stuff is doing, but you're doing it within the Office applications. And then lastly, the new version of Teams is in preview right now. If you have the little slider button on the top left of your Teams screen, your chat window or whatever you have open, you'll see if you hover over it, it says a faster, fresher Teams is ready for you to try. You can switch that, and it'll show you what the new Teams interface is going to look like, and you can actually use it that way. And then if you want to go back to what you're used to, you can flip it back to. It's kind of a on the fly switch. So
I have experience in both of these. The Teams thing, first of all, just a couple of notes. Number one, it opens way quicker, and that was its kind of design feature of why it was developed. They recoded it to make it more efficient, especially for Microsoft is known for some bloatware, so they recoded it to make it extremely efficient, and it loads in less than half the time of your current Teams program. But caveat emptor, what happens is that not all of your functions are there, but it's constantly being updated, and it is in preview. If you are not part of the preview program, you won't see this option. The other thing, the 365 Copilot, this is an implementation of AI services that is a continuation of things like Designer. And if you've never seen any of these Microsoft products, they will blow your mind. Make a PowerPoint presentation about the updates of Microsoft 365 in the last 3 months using our company logo and colors. Enter. And you do it right within, say, the PowerPoint program. It will chew on it, spit it out, and you then can edit it from there. It is amazing.
Yeah, so, include a picture of a blue fish, and it'll go out and find a blue fish and put it on there for you. I mean, I wish I had that in college.
Yeah, that's a whole nother set of philosophical questions.
Yeah.
John, I know we've run a little bit over. I appreciate your time. For those of you that have stuck with us, really appreciate everything. So if you have any questions about this live broadcast, or you want to follow up with more, feel free to visit our website at www.netcenter.net. You can email us at info@netcenter.net, or join us on any of our social media channels. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel or on LinkedIn. But if you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the little bell so you get notifications when we do go live. We've been doing it for a year. We want to completely increase the number of subscribers that we have so that people can continue to attend. So again, John, thanks for spending time with us today and giving us these updates. We're looking forward to more 365 updates in the future.